Flying is a unique act of trust. When you board an airplane, you're placing your life in the hands of people you'll never meet. Engineers, mechanics, pilots. This trust is earned through decades of safety records and reinforced every time a flight lands safely. Aviation is the safest form of long-distance travel because of relentless focus on safety and reliability. Every ticket is an unseen contract, a promise that safety comes first. When trust is shaken, it's not just about machines. It's about people and the confidence that keeps the world connected. The unseen contract of flight is what keeps us moving. In March 2025, news broke, not from regulators, but from industry insiders. China Southern Airlines was grounding its entire fleet of Boeing 787 Dreamliners. This wasn't a temporary inspection. The airline planned to sell the planes, a total vote of no confidence in one of the world's most advanced aircraft. The aviation world was stunned. Airlines don't just walk away from multi-million-dollar assets that form the backbone of their long-haul routes. The move was drastic, expensive, and sent a chilling message. Something was seriously wrong. The abruptness left everyone scrambling for answers. There'd been no crash, no emergency, just silence. Other airlines kept flying their Dreamliners, making China Southern's decision even more mysterious. Did they know something no one else did? Was there a hidden danger in the aircraft's structure? The lack of communication from both the airline and Boeing fueled speculation. In aviation, transparency is everything. When it breaks down, fear and rumor take over. Was this politics, negotiation, or a genuine safety crisis? The world's airlines, regulators, and passengers all asked, what did China Southern know? The bombshell had dropped. The fallout was just beginning. To grasp the crisis, you have to understand what the Boeing 787 Dreamliner meant. It was a revolution, built from carbon fiber composite barrels instead of aluminum, making it lighter, stronger, and more efficient. For airlines, it was a game changer: lower costs, longer range, and new direct routes between cities. The 787 quickly became the backbone of international fleets. Passengers loved it too. Lower cabin altitude, higher humidity, bigger windows, and a quieter ride. The Dreamliner felt like the future of flight. Its name wasn't just marketing. It captured a new era of comfort and efficiency. Airlines, pilots, and travelers trusted it. After early battery issues were resolved, the 787 built a reputation for reliability. It was a symbol of American engineering and global progress. That's why China Southern's move was so devastating. It struck at the heart of that trust. The Dreamliner's promise was suddenly in question. Long before China Southern's announcement, quiet concerns circulated among engineers and on factory floors. Reports of quality control issues at Boeing's 787 factories surfaced, especially with the advanced composite structure. Building with carbon fiber was new, and the process wasn't always perfect. There were whispers of gaps between fuselage sections, shims not meeting specs, and tolerances being exceeded. In aviation, precision is everything. Even small deviations can create weak points. These flaws led to delivery delays and repeated inspections. Boeing and the FAA insisted the planes were safe, but the pauses signaled deeper problems. The pressure to produce hundreds of jets may have led to lapses in oversight. For airlines, these whispers were unsettling. They'd paid for perfection. Regulators assured them, but doubts lingered. Were there hidden flaws? The seed of doubt was planted. Soon, it would grow into a global crisis of confidence. The whispers were about to become headlines. After China Southern's grounding, 3 structural flaws came to light. First, micro cracks, tiny fissures deep in the carbon fiber fuselage found during heavy maintenance. Over time, they could grow, threatening the plane's strength. Second, delamination, layers of carbon fiber separating if the bonding process wasn't perfect, creating weak spots. China Southern reportedly found more delamination than expected, raising alarms about long-term durability. third misaligned rivets, fasteners not perfectly set, creating stress points that could lead to fatigue and cracking. These weren't isolated problems, they pointed to systemic weaknesses in manufacturing. The pressure to ramp up production may have compromised quality. Each flaw alone might be manageable, but together, they cast doubt on the Dreamliner's structural integrity. This was the technical heart of the crisis. The world wanted answers. China Southern's leadership faced a tough choice. Their engineers found evidence of hidden defects, problems that couldn't be fixed with a simple repair. The risk, however small, was too great to ignore. Instead of waiting for regulators, they acted on their own findings, grounding and selling the fleet. This was more than a safety measure. It was a statement of principle. Grounding for inspection is common. Selling the fleet was a declaration. The aircraft was fundamentally flawed. The financial hit was massive, but the potential cost of an accident was far greater. Their decision forced other airlines and regulators to re-examine their own 787s. It put Boeing on the defensive, demanding answers. China Southern's move wasn't just about their planes. It challenged the entire aviation system. They drew a line in the sand, prioritizing safety above all else. The world had to respond. The industry was on alert. China Southern's announcement triggered a global scramble. Airlines rushed to reassure passengers, but behind the scenes, emergency inspections began. Boeing's stock plummeted. The Dreamliner, its flagship, was suddenly under suspicion. Boeing dispatched teams to airlines and regulators, trying to contain the crisis and prevent a global grounding. Airbus, Boeing's rival, saw new interest in its competing models. The crisis underscored the importance of having alternatives in aircraft manufacturing. Regulators like the FAA and EASA faced tough questions about their oversight. Had they missed something? Were their standards high enough? They launched urgent reviews of the 787's design and manufacturing. The credibility of global aviation safety was at stake. The Dreamliner crisis was more than a technical problem. It was a crisis of confidence. Passengers questioned the 787's safety. Social media buzzed with fear and doubt. The name Dreamliner, once a mark of quality, now sparked anxiety. Trust between airlines and Boeing was shaken. Billions had been invested on a promise of quality. China Southern's decision to sell its fleet was a public break in that trust. The crisis also strained relationships between international regulators. Normally, countries trust each other's certifications. Now, that system was in doubt. One airline's move created global confusion and undermined regulatory authority. The real issue wasn't the technology, it was the failure of quality control. Even the best designs depend on flawless execution. The Dreamliner's flaws were a human problem, not a material one. The lesson: trust is as vital as technology. Recovering from the 2025 crisis required more than technical fixes. The first step: total transparency. Boeing, airlines, and regulators had to admit the flaws and explain the risks. Only honesty could restore confidence. Next, a global inspection program, using advanced testing to find hidden flaws. Any suspect aircraft had to be grounded and repaired. The most important change had to happen in the factory, overhauling quality control, empowering inspectors, and putting safety above speed. A cultural shift was needed. Anyone could raise a safety concern, no matter their rank. The goal wasn't just to fix planes, but to ensure every new one was perfect. The crisis was a lesson. Safety is a journey, not a destination. Trust, once lost, is hard to regain. Only by embracing transparency and excellence can aviation reaffirm the unseen contract of flight.